The first thing that people with Asperger syndrome should stop doing immediately is subjecting their brains to television and movies and those types of entertainment. The reason is because they are all based on fantasy, and the reality is, as I understand it, is your brain cannot distinguish the difference between reality and what is fantasy. So you sit down in front of your television set and you're watching this really entertaining movie, and you know it's a movie, you know they're actors, you know there's a screenplay, you know there's a director behind the scene, you know the whole thing, but still you pick up on it. It is virtually impossible for you as a human being not to absorb some of the messages that are being sent, maybe not even intentionally, but things are being sent through that fantasy medium, particularly television, but also movies. I think movies, the theater has gone out of vogue in recent years because everybody's afraid of getting sick. They don't want to get COVID. Something else is number two is what I would call extended sitting. Just just sitting around all the time. Why would we not want to? I like to sit, but can't always do it. But I had this thing where I would get up and once a day I would walk about 2.5 miles, whatever it takes me to do in an hour, and that was something that I would do day after day after day. I think last time I did this, maybe, 10, 11 months, and I missed 3 days the whole time because of bad weather, but because more recently, I've got some physical problems that have come up, and now I can't hardly move at all, but I can still make videos, so I'm going to keep on doing this, and we got an appointment with a doctor in about 3 months. Thanks for putting us off, but chances are it's, I don't know what they call it, but it's just very difficult to move, period. And it's, we had it checked at the emergency room. There's no virus. There's nothing like that whatsoever, but there's something going on there. We need to get that fixed. And I don't like this because I don't like to sit. I want to get up and move. I want to take a walk. And that's something that we need to do. And if you are an Aspie, a person with Asperger syndrome, and you have not yet made the connection between physical activity and the activity of your brain, oh, you're missing something huge. You need to get outside. You need to get away from the four closed walls that you have imprisoned yourself in. Because keep in mind, that your mind is limited. There's only so many things that you have control over. But you do have control over certain things. So why not take advantage of those things that you do have control over? And one of them, as we mentioned earlier, is by and large just get away from television and movies and that whole fantasy world and embrace reality. And you do that just by connecting with reality. Now, I know some people that don't like to take walks in the neighborhood, people with Asperger syndrome, because, you got to talk to people. Yeah, I know. I've got the same problem, and I walk around my neighborhood, or I used to, and you encounter people, and I hope they don't see me, but they always do. And so you try to be polite. But if you can, get away. Go out to a state park. But there's some things you need to stop doing, and one of them is you need to stop being inactive. Okay, that sounds contradictory. You need to stop doing something that you're not doing. So I guess the counterpart of that is you need to start doing something that you need to start doing. Something else is you need to stop doing immediately is slouching. I never really thought of that in great detail before until I started watching this, or started working on this video, and I was looking at some of the things that are detrimental. And slouching, that's detrimental. To me, it's kind of comfortable. But as I researched into it, I went to healthline.com, and there are benefits to having good posture. There are a lot of those things, and we'll talk about them later, but we need to put our mind in a focus that if we are going to retain good mental and physical health, it's not going to just happen. We have to make it happen. We have to dig in and do this. Okay, that brings us to number 4, which is kind of similar to what we said earlier about, extended sitting where you need to get up and move about, and that is stop staying indoors all the time. Get outside and do something. And if you don't like people, try to find a place, and I understand that, by the way. If you don't like to encounter people, you may like people, but the encountering, people with Asperger syndrome don't understand this, but it's very stressful to encounter people. Well, you can get outside. You don't have to go where people are. You can, try to find a state park or whatever, but you don't have to stay indoors, because staying indoors, I think, is something that is extremely, at least in my experience, is something that is extremely detrimental to our self-perception and our mental health in general. Number 5, this is kind of a big one. I don't think anybody's going to even try to argue with me on this one, and it's something that all of us are guilty of, and that is eating for short-term gratification. I lost like 100 pounds in a year or so, just because I put myself not on a diet, but I just made a list of what I was going to eat on Monday, what I was going to eat on Tuesday, what I was going to eat on Thursday, and, the other days of the week. And Sunday, I, did some other things. My wife and I, we go out and eat once in a while. But what I found is when I stopped eating for short-term gratification and I started eating for long-term benefits, I lost about 100 pounds. I mean, it didn't just come off overnight, but just being consistent, it came off. Now, what happens when you eat for short-term gratification? Well, you are gratified short-term. I guess there's nothing wrong with that if it doesn't hurt you long-term, but if it benefits you short-term, just in that it makes you feel good, gives you a little psychological boost, but in the long run, it hurts you, don't do that. Stop hurting yourself. So number 5 is eating for short-term gratification. It's really something that we need to stop doing immediately. And if you're a person with Asperger syndrome, chances are you find yourself being alone. You like comfort food. That is your friend. You might have a cat, dog, whatever. I'm not saying you eat those, but they're your friends. And you're just kind of bored. So what are you going to do? Maybe you watch television, whatever. Please don't do that. But you might be watching television, and while you're doing it, you eat something that tastes good. And after you eat it, you're not dead. I mean, you're not deathly sick, so that must be good. Not necessarily. Eating for short-term gratification is something that people with Asperger syndrome should stop doing immediately, because it does have long-term difficulties, long-term problems. Number 6 is what I call unexpressed emotions. Some people would refer to this as bottling up our emotions. Now, there's an adverse side to this where we just explode on other people. People with Asperger syndrome, we know what that's all about. Those are called meltdowns, and sometimes we get ourselves in trouble just by not keeping those things in rein, and sometimes we can't. They just explode. But those unexpressed emotions, if you can't have a meltdown and scream at somebody, what are you going to do? How else are you going to express them? Well, one thing you might want to consider doing is just journaling. You got a computer, right? You got some access to something you can write on. If you don't want people reading your stuff, you can put it in a hidden folder somewhere on your computer, whatever. But why not? Why not keep a diary of what you're going through day by day and focus on that, so it's just not something that is attacking you, but it's something that you are attacking it. And so that you can concentrate, so that you can focus on how to fix and resolve these difficulties that you are facing on a day-to-day basis. So one of the things, the 6 things that we should stop doing, is allowing ourselves to experience unexpressed emotions. We need to have those emotions. We need to express them. We don't need to bottle them up, because quite frankly, you bottle them up, you're going to have an explosion. And chances are you've had one of those before. Maybe not, but if you're a person with Asperger syndrome, I almost guarantee you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for stopping by. And by the way, we got more videos coming up. So, I'm kind of struggling through this health thing, and I think we're going to get over it. Shame it's going to take me 3 months, 12 weeks to get to see a physician. That's very bothersome, but we're on our way. So thanks for stopping by. See y'all next time.